Sure, being sexy as fuck brings guys to your life. Being sexy as fuck attracts guys. But having a great personality is what keeps them there. And I can promise you that I've had a lot of women who had amazing bodies. But as soon as I got to know them, it really didn't make a difference. So yeah, being sexy as fuck definitely brings guys, but does it keep it? No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. So today we're gonna talk about how do you keep a guy. Now we're gonna focus today on the personality, all right? And then the other one we're gonna focus, because I'm gonna make another video. But on the other one we might have to focus more on what you gotta do in order to keep him interested. But this is more on who you are. This is more on the central core of your personality, which is the most important thing. Now, what's the key to having a great personality? The key to having a great personality is simple. Becoming and getting in touch with your inner child. Children, by nature, bring out our own inner child. And it causes us to feel good. Children, when we're around children, we feel like we're back in our glory days. We feel as though we have that youthful vitality, all right? And the problem is that a lot of people lose that as they grow old. Okay, and the beauty of all of this, and the thing that I love about this is that every person has a great personality. Deep down, we all have a great personality. Okay, because as children, we were likable. You know, well, there were some children that were fucking dickheads. I could name a few, but for the most part, every child is likable. Okay, we were actually ourselves when we were children. Yeah, we may have been rude, we may have been little assholes, a little devils, but we were ourselves, and that's why people loved us. Not because of our perfection, but because of our uninhibition. Okay, but as humans, the beautiful thing about this is that humans somehow, just like we have the instinct to survive, sucking on our parents, on parents' nipple without sounding perverted. But we have another nature inside of us is to charm. Think about this. How does a child know that complimenting you and kissing you, telling you, "Oh, mom, you're so cute. You're the most beautiful mom in the world. Can I have $10?" How do you know that that works? It's because it's an instinct. We naturally know how to charm people as children. But what causes us to lose it is our inhibition. The adult experience causes us to lose it. By simply tapping into our inner child, we will naturally know what to do. Our body has intelligence, you see? And so we lose ourselves and through growing up, and as a result, we also lose our natural abilities. But by the way, let me tell you guys something. I'm on Patreon. If you guys want to support the channel, support me at Patreon. So Patreon/MA20. And also, I know it was a long break. I know. I took a break for like a day. I'm back. You know, I'm here. You know, it was a prank. You know, I'll never leave you guys unless you guys fuck up. But anyways, so as we grow older, we begin to have roles that are placed upon us, and that causes us to lose our childhood tendencies. Okay. Now, what I want to be able to help you guys do is not to have you become a child, because that's unattractive. What I want you to tap into is the inner child, so you can have the air of a child, a childlike tendency, little sprinkles of childlike in you. Okay, so let's talk about the causes of a bad personality. All right, because a bad personality in this case is the inhibition and the adult-like in us. All right. Now the thing is that being an adult is amazing. Like gaining the adult tendency. The adult tendency is more of the analytical side, the ability to think of the future, to plan, the ability to think of the past in order to reflect and use feedback. But it loses out on the childish part. It becomes overbearing to the point that you become too adult-ish and you lose the childlike part of you. And that's why a lot of people become bitter and unlikable. Okay, so the key to this is having that balance. But what causes that disbalance? What is it? Simple. We're gonna go over a couple causes, and I promise, listen to me, because this is interesting. The first one is the social conditioning, which is based on the superficial social standards that are placed upon us. Now, the thing is that social conditioning is not bad because it helps society be as a whole. You know, like when you have social conditioning, someone has to do the dirty work. Someone has to be the janitor. Someone has to stay at home. Someone has to do the dirty work. So it does work as a whole, as a society. But the issue is that it doesn't work as an individual because it causes you to deviate from who you are. You can't really be yourself because your family's telling you, we've sacrificed everything for you, so you better do something with the hard work that we did for you. You see? So we feel like we cannot be ourselves. Remember Rose from Titanic? How she felt like she had to marry Jack. Marry the other guy just for the family. That's very similar. So Jack represented liberty, freedom. You see, I'm gonna make a video on that on the other channel. Funny enough, I'm reminding myself for that. So as we grow older, we begin to have these roles, and so we deviate from ourselves, and the deviation causes bitterness. Because because we also compromise ourselves. We grow older because we don't get to follow our dreams. You let go of your childish fantasies and goals. It's the ability to think big and grandioso is what causes us to feel like a child. Because we're thinking things that are beyond our imagination. We lose our imagination and it's replaced by our analytical side. The part of our egos that keeps compulsive thinking at bay. No, not at bay, but right in front of our faces. You see, because we have an identity that we need to live up to. We also feel like you have unmet potential, and that causes people to get inhibited. That you become bitter and you get secluded in your own little self. You see, and so what comes out of it is a very bad personality that when it interacts with someone else, it creates a bigger monster if they're also inhibited. Now, another thing that causes us to have a bad personality because of society is because we're holding on to the past. All right, that also causes us to lose our childish tendencies because children let go of the past. The thing is that by holding on to the past, it rewires your brain to see how to see the past, to see the present moment through the past. For example, let's say that you're driving, right? You're driving down the street and you see a car. That's a random car and you pay no attention to it and you let it pass, right? It didn't do nothing to you. Let's say the car hits your car. Suddenly, he hits you, you feel anger, and now when you see that car, you don't see it as you saw it before. You put more meaning because you bring the past into the present. So you see that car as an asshole. You give the car an identity. That's what I mean by not letting go of the past. You're holding on to it so that you see the present moment through the eyes of the past. You're not giving that car, that person, a fair chance because you keep seeing the past in them. As a result, it's very similar to someone cheating on you. Somebody cheating on you, now suddenly you hold on to it that you see the same person in every man. Every man becomes a representation of the person who hurt you. And you become addicted to their validation because validation from guys means that, guess what? What happened in the past doesn't mean anything. You're trying to convince yourself that you're worthy through the same source of your unhappiness. Another thing about holding on to the past is that it rewires your emotional circuitry where you see threats that are not even there. When you hold on to the past, when you got hurt, suddenly you don't want to get hurt anymore. So because of that, you're ultra vigilant. Your body's in a stress mode. You're trying to survive. But the issue is that when you're ultra vigilant, trying not to get hurt, your body is in hyperactive mode, trying to defend itself. The issue is that it releases those stress hormones that are there only to be temporarily, not as a permanent state of being. So you become more bitter, you become more defensive, all right? And so what tends to happen is that people see the defensiveness in you, but because you're holding on to the past. So you get into relationships like strong and bitter, like I'm not trying to get hurt, this might happen, and so you're always looking out for what might happen. But the problem in life is that you don't get what you want, you get what you are excited about and what you fear, okay? And that causes a bad personality. Another thing is that another cause for bad personality, which causes guys to like fucking run away from you, is putting others ahead of you in the belief that you're doing the right thing. You see, society preaches you gotta be unselfish, but people don't understand what it is to be unselfish. Alright? People are unselfish to the point where they hurt themselves and they grow bitter. You see what I'm saying? And so you learn to sacrifice yourself and expect people to make you happy and expect people to give you back of that sacrifice. Right? Another thing is that another thing that causes a bad personality is feeding the addiction of constant stimulus. As we grow older, we get used to social stimulation, rewards from behaving good, rewards for conforming. We get rewarded for conforming and being like everybody else. And so as we grow older, we also get used to being the center of attention of our parents. But as we get to school, we notice we're not the center anymore. And because we grew addicted to being the center of attention, we try to fit in. And that fitting in becomes a never-ending stimulation. That also extends to online media. And so your personality becomes a personality that's predicated based on getting feedback. So you're not really yourself. You become more of a robot. A set of responses that's very automatic and predictable. Talk about being unpredictable and being unique. You become like everybody else. You become conditioned. And that personality is very unattractive because they're mostly defensive. They're mostly trying to defend their sense of identity. All right, and you can't really get through them. You can't really get to know them because you only get to know in the exterior, which is not even really them. Now, what is having a good personality? Let's talk about that, all right? Because we're talking too negative. Having a good personality is being undefensive. Being the undefensive partner. Being undefensive enables you to accept new concepts and embrace the unknown. Very childlike. Alright? So if you're talking to someone who has a good personality, they're open to your ideas. They're always constantly asking themselves, maybe I'm wrong. Not in doubt, but for the simple act of being open to the fact that our belief system should change after a while because it has to match the times. Alright? It also lowers your inhibition in others. When you're not defensive, people also lower their defensiveness. People only react defensive to defensive people. So if you're a defensive partner, if you're undefensive, a defensive partner cannot really withstand you. They're either going to become undefensive or they're going to leave. But the thing is that you're only going to attract good relationships because your undefensiveness cannot keep the bad ones. And you're also open to influence. You're also open to influence to others, and it makes you more seductive. When you're open to other people's perspectives, other people's views, and you allow yourself to be influenced by them, not because you're trying to please them, but because of your undefensiveness, it helps you notice that maybe their perception and belief can benefit you. So you allow yourself to be influenced. And people love seeing their influence on others because it satisfies a natural narcissism inside of us. We love seeing our ideals being done by others because we get to see ourselves through them. And it's extremely charming, I'm telling you. When a guy feels like he's helping you change in a positive way, when a guy notices that you're embracing part of his belief system, not because you want to, but because it's actually helping you, and he's seeing that it's actually helping you, that's attractive. And people love that, all right? And it also means that, by good personality, also means that you're not afraid to feel pain. Most of the action that we do that are negative is because we're not trying to feel pain. For example, the source of addiction is not trying to feel pain. You feel discomfort, and in order not to feel the discomfort, you find alleviation through a stimulus. You're in traffic, and the reason you get mad because you're in traffic is because you don't want to feel the pain of impatience. You get mad. You get mad at someone because you don't want to feel the pain of them making you angry. Every action, every personality traits that arises comes from a place of not wanting to feel pain. So if you just learn to accept to feel pain, suddenly all of those destructive behavior that you were doing in the past automatically stops. Notice it. Notice that most of the action that you take is usually to feel better. For example, being needy. You're needy to man because you don't want to feel needy. So you act needy. But if you learn to feel the pain fully, you're gonna feel needy, but relax and not act on it. That the vibe that people sense from that mentality is an extremely chilled vibe. I'm telling you, it's a beautiful thing. You're not afraid to get rejected. So when you're when you're talking to a guy and you feel like he rejected you, you don't react. You accept it for what it is. You don't mind the pain. You see? It also means fearlessness. Children are fearless. Children have lack of consequences. Children don't mind offending someone. Don't mind calling you fat. Don't mind calling you ugly. Children don't mind that. Children told me I talk too much. A child told me the other day, shut the fuck up, you talk too much. I'm like, what the fuck? That's a little bit too fearless. You know? I'm like, Jesus Christ, fucking asshole. That's all I'm talking about, an asshole kids. I'm talking about that kid who told me to shut the fuck up. So being fearless is attractive because you speak your mind. Alright? You speak your mind. People love children because they speak their minds. Notice the celebrities that speak their minds. You're gonna notice that they're able to get away with more things than other people. You ever notice those people who can just say a lot of crazy shit and they can get away with it? Like Trump. Trump says all that crazy shit because he's fearless. He's not afraid to offend people. So now anything he says, I mean, people are like, that's just Trump being Trump. Fuck. It is what it is. All right, and that's attractive because people can respect it because they know you speak your mind. Now you're gonna offend some people, but you don't give a fuck, and that's where the beauty of the attractiveness is, in the not caring. It also means being present to the moment. Another personality trait is being present to the moment. Because as a child, when you're present to the moment, that means you're able to forgive. when you offend the kid, what happens? The kid doesn't fucking hold on to that shit. The kid forgives you. You know how many times I fought with my friends and we just forgot about it the next day? In addition to being present to the moment, children are more aligned to their senses. Notice it. Everything is new to them. Everything is new, so their senses are on overdrive. They're more present to the moment. There's less thinking. They haven't developed their cognitive abilities to think. So as a result, the energy that goes to thinking becomes into the present moment. You know, like rather than noticing your head, the imagination, you're here, and so you're present. And when when you're present, you use more of your senses, and you experience the world more. Think about it. What it is to live. What's living? Living is experiencing. And the more you experience your senses, the more you live. And so people are going to feel that vibrancy, that positiveness emanating from you. That's because of presence, right? Now, another thing is, as childlike, is being attuned to the pleasures of life. All right? Children love pleasure. Children love pleasure. They love to play. They love to have a good time. That means that you just attuned, rather than trying to not feel pain, you're always going for the pleasure. Most people are living not trying to feel a certain way. What children do is that they live to feel a certain way. Feel those positive things. They're always looking for new experiences. In addition to that, they are also able to show weakness and vulnerability. The ignorance, the weakness, the naiveness is adorable. When you're able to mix in sympathy, the sympathy you feel for a child because they express themselves, but they also have an air of innocence and weakness. People love that. Because that also means that you're not defensive. And another thing is that they have a curiosity of life. Okay? They love to know people. They're curious. Why? People love that. But when you don't have that, they sense that you think you know everything. You think you have it right. You're always right. Rather, children are always curious. Not just curious about the world, but curious about what is true. They're always they're willing to believe something. Okay? Is it? No. I think I'm talking out of my... I think that didn't make sense. Yeah, that didn't make sense. That didn't make sense. So forget what I just said. Okay? But another part to having a good personality is my last one. Having contrasting personality traits that contradict each other. People want to know that deep down there's another part of you that comes out at certain moments. If you're an extremely nice girl, like having an amazing nice personality, all-American girl, you know, like the president's daughter, right? People want to know that you have a darker side. A darker, evil side to you. If you're known to be a very highly sexual woman, people want to know that you have a childlike aura to you. Or an intelligent side. If you're someone that's very serious on the outside, people want to know that there's an opposite side of you inside of you. Having that air of having a little bit of a contradicting personality that comes out in a subtle way gives you that whole roundedness. And it makes you extremely unpredictable. So what are the steps that you can take to having a great personality? Because this is what's going to keep a guy. First of all, you got to remove the inner blocks, which are the inhibition that you have. What do you mean by that? The inner block is the hesitation. Somebody offends you, you feel that block, like that energy. You want to say something, but you feel that block inside. You don't want to offend the person. So all you really have to do, because most of the time, we just suppress those inner blocks. We suppress it by not even thinking about it or even hoping to take action by suppressing it. So what do? The first step is just to notice it. Just notice it. Just notice it. Simply notice it. I call those moments of needs. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just intentionally get rejected. Intentionally go into an argument and be wrong. And notice how it is to feel like you're wrong. You ever been in an argument and you feel like you're wrong? You see that knot in your finger, like the knot that says, I'm fucking right, I'm fucking right, I'm holding on to that shit. I don't give a fuck if I sound like a hypocrite. Just notice that feeling. Notice it. Notice the feeling of wanting to impress people before you speak. And when you notice that feeling of wanting to impress, now when you notice it, now you have the ability to either act on it or not act on it. Notice anytime you hesitate to take action. Notice moments of pain. And notice the time that you're trying to not feel the pain. Notice what motivates you to put up certain statuses on Facebook, on Instagram, on Snapchat. Notice what motivates you. Notice the desire to get the likes on Facebook, the likes on Instagram. Notice the desire to get validation. Just simply notice how needy you are. And notice the defensiveness. Just notice. By simply noticing, it's going to dissolve it, because those are unconscious things that are controlling your behavior. But most of the time they're unconscious, not because it's a hidden part of your personality, but because you're not present enough to see it. But when you're present, you become so present that anything that arises, you notice it. It's like getting mad. When you get angry, a lot of people black out because they get angry and act. They don't notice it. But now, like I always say, it's similar to getting angry. Rather than acting, you observe, observe, observe. My phone fell. Observe, 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 and then act. Okay? Ooh, look at that. No cracks. No cracks. Another thing is it's all about dropping the past and letting go of expectations. Dropping the past and letting go of expectations. Did I bring that in? And so, yeah, you take action, okay? Something happened negative to you, but you're present. You let go of how life should be. And you accept life as it is. Take action to change things, but don't resist it. Another thing is a self-acceptance. The thing is that we love accepting the good parts of us, right? We love that. We ravel on the good parts. But we try to suppress the negative parts. And then we're trying to accept ourselves. See, that's a fallacy that everyone falls into. That they just want to accept the good and not the bad. It's very similar to being on YouTube. We love the positive comments, but when we get negative comments, we don't like it. So how do you fix that? It's not knowing how to take the positive, negative comments, but it's the opposite route. In order to not care what people think about you, you gotta let go of the highs you get from the positive comments. So the same thing is that if you want to fully accept yourself, you need to take pride in the negative things you do, or even better, stop taking pride in the good things that you do. Don't take pride. Don't even take credit. You see the videos that I'm making? I don't even know how the fuck I'm making this. To be honest with you, how the fuck do I know this? I've practiced, I learned all of this, but I didn't know that I knew this, to be honest with you. But it's because, what was I thinking? See, I didn't know I knew all of this, right? And so, because of that, I can't really take credit. The reason why I do this is because I'm just open. I was looking for a way to help people out, all right? And so, how I got here is not because of my ability, but because of my ability to actually be open enough to allow my subconscious mind to guide me. So, I don't really take credit. So, when someone tells me I'm smart, I'm like, yeah, thank you. What I do take credit is in my clarity, being able to express myself. Being clear. But all of this, I try not to really take as much credit, because with that comes the negative part. So the same thing with your personality. When someone says, oh, you're so smart, oh, you're so awesome, take it with a grain of salt. Don't make an identity out of that. Because if you make an identity out of it, anytime you get an evidence that contradicts what you believe about yourself, you're going to feel down. And so that causes people to have a bad personality, because you have an ego. So you have to drop that. And by simply dropping and accepting the good and the bad, by letting go of the attachment that you feel because of how good it feels, you're going to begin to accept yourself fully. But it's all about embracing every aspect of yourself. Just notice for example, notice the parts of yourself that you're ashamed of, and notice the parts of yourself that you're proud of. Therein lies the source of your pain. There, right there. The sources of your shame, of your pride, lies the sources of your pain. And by simply observing them, you're going to naturally stop doing the behavior that arises from them. And your personality is going to improve automatically. I mean, my way of doing things is that I love the things that produces the biggest results. Okay? Now, another thing you can do is do improv comedy, because it disinhibits you. It really does. Now, the last thing is this fixing the self-image. We all have a self-image. The thing is that the self-image that we have is a true reflection of our actions and who we are. When you see yourself, you may see an image of who you really are. Everyone has a self-image, and so if you realize that your self-image is what controls your actions, and your behavior, all you gotta do is just change your self-image. It's so beautiful to know that in reality, everyone has an unlimited potential. When I realized that everyone has a self-image, and the self-image is what controls your behavior, and you could change it, yo, like, everything became possible. Everything. So all you have to do is this. Simply begin to imagine yourself. How would you look like if you had an amazing personality? Be specific. What kind of personality you want to have? How do you want people to react to you? Make that shit specific and see yourself going throughout a day as this new person. See yourself. See what you see. Feel what you feel. Hear what you hear. Breathe how you breathe. And make that movie in your mind vivid. And visualize it 10 minutes a day. Twice a day preferably. In the morning and at night. For 30 days. And I could promise you, if you make that image, that movie clear, vivid, and consistent, the same, and see people reacting to you positively, and yourself feeling positive and being present, and doing the things that you know you love, I don't care how you're gonna get to just see that, and you're going to see your personality change. I am telling you, this is what I use. This is the most powerful way to change your personality. This is. And make sure that you see how your partners react to you. See, you gotta be specific. Make sure how you see your brother, sister, husband, cousin, I don't care. Anyone who's close to you. See them reacting to you in a way that they wanna do things for you. And feel good. And the more you see that, the brain is gonna say, damn, this is my new reality. And it's gonna begin to change your behavior. It's not gonna be instant, but the seed is already sowed. You see, and once that seed is there, you're gonna have a passion to be that. But you have to really desire it, because if you don't desire it, that means you don't really want it. Alright? So this is how it's done. Is there any more? This is how it's done. It's one of my favorite subjects. I love teaching this. By the way, I'm gonna be making a video at 12 a.m. in the midnight, 12 p.m. 12 a.m. Eastern. You know, like in New York City time, 12 a.m. in New York City. I'm gonna be posting the video for only 1 hour. It's a video that I made a while ago, and you guys are gonna like it. You know, I was just freestyling. If you want to watch it, you gotta be there at 12 a.m. and because I'm gonna delete it after 1 hour. The only way for you to see it is you gotta hit that you know the subscribe button that I have when you go on my channel, and you see the little bell. You gotta hit that, because if you hit that, you're gonna get immediately notification when that video goes up. And if you don't catch it at that time, and you're there an hour later, I'm gonna delete it. And if you're not there, I'm not gonna post it back. So you gotta be there when it comes up. Alright, so the only way for you to get it is that you gotta hit that notification. So you guys get the notification of when that video is coming up. Alright, so this is how you have a good. This is how you can improve your personality so it can become more attractive. Alright, I'm gonna be making more videos today, but check at 12 a.m. tonight. I'm gonna be posting that video so if you guys want to see it. Anyways, this is Alex from mindfulattraction.org. Enjoy your day and goodbye.